We are live. This is Coach Arnie, and this is the Health, Love, and Life Show and WGSN-DB Going Solo Network. And we're going to talk about our feelings tonight. You know, this has been kind of a tricky topic because feelings and emotion are sometimes interchangeable, but they're not. And I'm still trying to understand it. I mean, I learned a lot about feelings going through work with addiction. Because, see, a lot of times, and we had a gentleman on the show. I was trying to remember his name. I was checking my notes, but I want to say 3 shows ago, who was dealing with a lot of deep internal emotional work. And in his word, he just kind of guided you. He didn't really even coach you. He kind of pushed that coaching aspect away. Dane Stevens, that's right, Dane Stevens. And he kind of guided you in the process of you discovering it. Because a lot of times what we do, especially in addiction, is we stuff our emotions. And a lot of times our feelings will show up in our body, face, but that can be interchanged again with emotion too. But just like I'll just throw this out here, we're going to get back to it, but love, how do you show, love on your face? Well, smiling, twinkle in your eye. I mean, it's hard to say that. Whereas, sadness, which, you can show with anger, but again, these are still feelings as well too. So we're going to try to kind of muddle our way through some of that. But the idea here, my main theme tonight, my main goal is that, one, we understand what these feelings mean and what maybe sometimes they're negative, the negative aspects of them are, and what their gifts are. Because all of these feelings give us something positive. Truly, they do. And we're going to talk about them because the idea here is to better manage our feelings and emotions. Because if we don't, especially with emotions, they can manifest deep inside of us into everything from cancer to ulcers, heart attacks, all kind of weird stuff physically that are emotional. I don't want to say that. They express themselves physically, and whereas they don't have, you weren't cut, you weren't shot, you weren't hit, you didn't come up with like the COVID virus, but you're expressing physical signs that something's not right. And it can be triggered emotionally. And your feelings are how you express yourself. So where you might be feeling love. So the emotion of love could be many other things, that you do, how you express, how you show it, and love inside can really be healthy for us. It can also be unhealthy too, which is why you hear the term a broken heart. So it can get a little complicated, but the main thing here is just understand that your feelings are things that are good and bad depending on how we manage them. And there is overlap with emotions as well. But most of the time, the emotion is something you can't express outwardly. You know, that's kind of a very basic way to explain it. But let's just kind of get rolling here and see where this goes and have a little fun with it. At the same time, learn about it. You know, if you do some Googling and some research, because I'm going off some stuff that I learned probably 12, 13 years ago. And I keep a chart above my computer that every once in a while I just look at and stare at. And because it goes to what I call which gave me the idea for this, because I'm always looking at this chart. 8 basic feelings. So let's just start off with the first one, which is anger. Okay. And then we'll take a break here and we'll talk about like things like what impacts our feelings. You know, what are things that can impact it? What can help you develop certain feelings? So, but let's just look at anger. That's pretty basic, right? Basic feeling. And it can express itself through resentment, right? Yeah, that's one of my 4 R's, resentment, because it comes after you resist. Like somebody does something to you and you go, boy, that didn't feel good. Then they do it to you again. Man, that really doesn't feel good. And they continue to do it. And maybe after 5 times, could be 1, but let's say 5, you go, you know, I'm resenting this. This person is trying to hurt me. I don't like it. And so you start to feel anger because of what somebody is doing or saying to you. So you feel resentment. And I probably should have gone to the next one I wrote down was irritation. Because irritation is that little resistance that you're feeling there. You know, another word might be annoyance, right? Somebody is annoying you. I have a rule, especially with anger. If you truly believe that somebody gets up every day and is trying to irritate you, trying to annoy you, you've got a problem. That's somebody that you'd probably want to choose to not to associate with. Now, if you have to, then it's something that you're going to have to manage. Because what a person like this is trying to do normally is get a reaction. They want attention. So you going in there and doing the same thing back to them will probably feed their ego and tell them that whatever they're doing is working. So they'll keep irritating you. Okay, because they like getting you to fire back because you're feeling resentful. Because a lot of times you won't get to that stage of rejection, especially if this person has power over you. So you won't reject them by quitting your job because you need the job. Unless you get another job, then I would suggest to leave if the person isn't willing to change. In relationships, same thing. You know, when I've coached people in relationship, if they actually felt that the person is trying to hurt them, trying to annoy them on purpose, which to me is hurtful, might be time to leave. Might be time to leave. And that's something to think about. Because if not, you know, this frustration. Isn't that another word for anger? You get frustrated. Because you can't do anything about it, right? Especially if you have no power. If you've given away your power. You need the job. You think you need the relationship because you're fearful, and we'll get to that next, that you're never going to be loved again. So we put up with stuff and we internalize it. We internalize it because we're frustrated, because we can't do anything about it. And these lead to a lot of problems. So these feelings of anger need to be dealt with. And how do you deal with it? Here are the gifts now of the feeling of anger. Sometimes these angry thoughts will give you energy. You ever done that? You ever been angry and you went for a walk or a run or work out at the gym? Man, it gave you a lot of energy, didn't it? But you used it for something that could be beneficial. You moved your body. You felt better. Or not. At least you weren't out there cutting yourself. You know, working in the addiction phase, that was a common emotional response to a feeling of anger, cutting yourself because you didn't feel you could do anything else. It's common with younger people. It can give you strength, like resolve. I'm going to do something about this. I'm putting my stake in the ground. You know, I'm not talking about ego. I'm talking about resolve. Okay? Determination, perseverance. These are things that anger can lead to that are positive for you. You know, somebody did something to you, a relationship, breakup, whatever it might be, and you're determined, you're resolved to learn from it. What did it mean? And next time you're in a dating situation, you're gonna be more determined to not make the same mistakes. So yeah, it gives you this certain feeling of assertiveness. I'm not gonna put up with this. I'm putting my foot down. This is not gonna go anywhere from this point on. I mean, being assertive. You will not speak to me that way. I will not accept that. I mean, just being assertive, but in a loving way, is one way that we can deal with anger. Okay? So that's kind of how we'll kind of attack these things here. Then we'll kind of interject some things along the way here. So, and we've been talking a little bit about this, but fear is another feeling. And but it's so tricky today because fear can be apprehension. Some might call it anxiety. You know, because it's worry about tomorrow instead of worried so much about today. But while you're in the middle of today, you worry about tomorrow, something you can't do anything about. So you're apprehensive about a meeting, a date. Could be anything, a vacation. And then you start to worry all the things that could go wrong, and you become apprehensive about the whole process. And then you may just cancel it because you become overwhelmed. It happens. People will cancel a date. People will cancel a job interview. People will cancel another appointment. Anything. It could be anything because they sat there and became worried about it. Their minds were going crazy. And they become overwhelmed. That's like a lot of times individuals that are faced with new situations, change. If it's too much, they become overwhelmed. If it's too much, they become overwhelmed. And so that's why you got to be careful sometimes with people and not give them too much information. Not make too many changes in their schedule. You know, some of us will go, oh, you need to just stop all that. You need to quit it all. And that's a great way to do things. Rip the Band-Aid off. But for some people, that creates too much overwhelm because it's the word uncertainty. We become very uncertain about where is this going to go? Where is this going to go? And that uncertainty can wreck you. It can cause massive anxiety. And if you look around in our society today, especially with younger people, and it's creeping all over the place, but especially with younger people, anxiety is just rampant. Fear of tomorrow. Fear of tomorrow. Worry. Not a doggone thing you can do about tomorrow, except be your best today. If you're doing everything you got today that you can do, then tomorrow's going to be okay. But you're not going to know that until you get there. So you have to learn to have faith. Faith's not a feeling, but I'm just throwing it in there because faith plays a big part in dealing with our feelings. Because faith allows you to believe in something you cannot see or feel. Okay? So let's look at the third thing here. My third basic feeling. Pain. Woo. We all know what pain feels like, right? Physical pain. It hurts. But doesn't emotional pain hurt too? Yeah, it hurts. You know what it feels when your gut's churning, your chest. I mean, you've got your throat's tight. I mean, so many times we feel pain inside our body, differently than we do outside of it, but it's still pain. I was talking to a client today. He just had surgery. And he's dealt with surgeries before. He has a spinal cord injury. I've known him for 24 years, 23 years, almost 24. And I've seen him do a lot of things. And so he recently fell. It was kind of like his body gave out. But he fell. He had a non-weight bearing break in his ankle. They fixed an old injury there too. They fixed an old injury in his knee. And the first day he sounded okay. Then he actually wanted me to come because his back was hurting him. But I thought I'd give him the day off and just rest. But each day, he felt better. And when I saw him today, he was doing incredibly well. And even his wife said, yeah, I think he's putting on a face. But he truly looked like he was managing the pain really well. Physical pain. Now, managing emotional pain can be really hard because that's a different kind of hurt, isn't it? There's a certain kind of pain physically that we feel. If you get hit, you could feel. I remember hiking just recently in the Grand Canyon, and I got a cramp. It was so bad. It literally was going to make me cry. It really hurt. It hurt. So pain is very hurtful, and it's an emotion that obviously doesn't feel good, but also can lead to or can be defined as pity, self-pity, or pity for somebody else. When you see people going through things, how do you feel about it? I know how I feel sometimes. It hurts me to watch people in pain. I don't like it. I don't like to see, especially people that are that can't protect themselves. I have a client who's got a disability. And one of the things that really gets me going is when I see people taking advantage of him. It really gets me going emotionally because I know he won't fight back like a normal person would because he's such a wonderful human being. So I take pity on that. The feeling I have is pity. It's not an emotion, it's just pity. Because I don't like to see the pain that he's going through. Hold that thought. We're going to take a quick little break here, and we'll be right back with the Health, Love, and Life show on the WGSN-DB Going Solo Network. All right. Now, the third little way that I describe pain is sadness. Now, sometimes when you do Google search, sadness will come up as pain because sadness people understand. But to me, it's basic pain. Sadness is pain. Doesn't feel good, does it? Gosh, doesn't feel good to me. But there's other kinds, and we'll get there in a second. But sadness can also be can trigger an emotion of joy, right? Or a feeling of joy, which we'll get to next. But so as we get to the positive aspects here in a minute, just remember that. And then loneliness, being lonely, it hurts. Does it not? Is there anybody here that has not been lonely? Well, you're lucky. Doesn't feel good. It hurts. It's painful. Sometimes you even feel self-pity, don't you? So if we manage the feeling of pain, what does that get us? Well, it can get us healing. We could heal. We can heal from relationships. It's like a book I'm rereading now. Traction. It's a business book. They talk about letting people go. Hard to do. But in one chapter, they call it 36 hours of pain versus 9 months of pain. It's not a pregnancy, but when you keep somebody on forever because you can't get rid of them, the pain continues versus if you get rid of them, I promise you it's 36 hours of pain and they'll probably come back and say, thank you. Because it's not just painful for you, it's probably painful for them to be around. So you heal. If you deal with the pain, you heal. You grow. If you deal with the pain, you grow. You get to that next level. So if you're feeling pain in your life, one of the things I tell my clients to do is ask, what does this mean? If I'm making phone calls or I set up an appointment and somebody no-shows me or ghosts me in the millennial vernacular, what did it mean? Did they intentionally get up today and go, I'm not going to talk to that guy. I'm going to screw him. I'm going to set him up for a big failure. Or when people don't call you back, what are they thinking? They're out to get you. No, usually it's because they're in pain. Because they have a hard time dealing with stuff. And they probably are thinking, the fact that I'm not good at this job. And I don't even know how to return a phone call. Who knows? Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. What matters is that you're growing from your painful situations. You're not allowing somebody that's ghosting you or no-showing you or whatever they're doing to intimidate you, to make you feel bad longer than necessary. Okay? So pain's real. And then the last one with pain is awareness. If you're aware of your situation, what's causing the pain, kind of like the lion with the thorn in the paw, and the little mouse came over and took the thorn out, and the lion was so thankful. Well, if you're aware of the thorn in your paw, take it out. Remove the pain. But if you're not aware, it makes it hard. And then it will manifest in other emotions in your body. You know, it'll manifest in ways sometimes, as our friend Dane was speaking about 3 weeks ago, that can be very hurtful. So remember that. The fourth one is joy. Now we're getting into some fun feelings here. Joy, which is, being happy. Don't we all want to be happy? I did a thing, I think I did it here, on what's the fastest way to get happy? Just be kind. Starting with yourself, right here. Be kind to yourself. Exercise yourself, rest yourself, eat good foods. And you'd be surprised what happens. You're going to be full of joy. And when you're full of joy, you can spread it. You can share it with other people. You can share that kindness. Man, I tell you what, being kind to other people is so beneficial. You will become happy. It's that simple. It's that simple. So being elated, happy, excited about life, about your situation, is joyful. So it's okay to feel okay. I was reading something about Anne Franks, who wrote the diary, Anne Franks. And she talked about how, she was 10 or 12, how she chose every day to get up to be happy. She chose to laugh and be happy about life. She could have sat around and moaned and groaned. So what? But she didn't. She chose to be happy. You too can do that. You can get up every morning and you can choose joy. You can. You can choose joy, and you can do things strategically to achieve it. Visiting people, being nice to people, being more understanding, encouraging of people. There you go. Now, let's look at real quick as we start to kick this thing along, because I can jabberjaw, is 3 things that are gifts from joy. Abundance. Yeah, abundance in your life. Happiness. There we go again. And gratitude. Gratitude, so powerful. Being thankful for what you have. That's a huge benefit of joy. The feeling of joy. Let's look at the next one. Passion. Passion. I love this word. Enthusiasm. Does that make you passionate? Aren't you passionate? If you're enthusiastic about something, right? Yeah. So the key then to this feeling is enthusiasm. See, if you're enthusiastic about life, about an event, a meeting, what do you think that does to people around you? Does it inspire them? Does it bring them energy? Excitement? I don't know. Maybe you need to try it. But you'd be surprised what people with passion can do, what they're willing to do. Because isn't that the key? If you have what I call a determined heart, it means you're leading with your heart. You're leading with your passion for something. Because passion will push you past the pain, the fear, even the anger. Passion. it's really what you want to do. Passion will give you an appetite for success, especially once you've tasted it. You'll want it again and again and again. You want to taste passion, what it feels like, how valuable it is. It will drive you to find more things that you are passionate about. Or maybe it's more of what you already do. If you're a salesperson, if you're, whatever you're doing, everything is sales. But whatever you're doing, working with people, building things, if you're passionate about it, you will bring not only an appetite, but you'll bring an energy, as we just talked about. You'll bring an energy to what you're doing. You'll bring enthusiasm, excitement. Excitement, that's the gift. There's nothing better than being around somebody who's excited about what they're doing. Am I right? I mean, come on. How many people, if you're at a meeting pre-COVID, hopefully it'll change, but pre-COVID, remember you went to a meeting, maybe it was a networking meeting, or maybe you're at a restaurant or a bar, and somebody came in the room and they're like, pow, energy, excitement. You went, whoa, what's going on with that person? I wonder what they do. You don't even know who they are. Now, that person chose to do that. Now, it might have been easy for him. And why is it easy for him? I don't know. Maybe he practiced it all the time. See, if you never practice smiling and being enthusiastic and energetic, like today, I'll give you, for instance, I try where I'm at, but I was at a place that it's a retirement place, and I know a lot of the guys that work there. A lot of the caregivers too, but a couple guys there that I saw. I hadn't seen for a couple of weeks, so I was kind of, teasing them a little bit and being energetic, enthusiastic, encouraging. And his supervisor literally one time wanted to come over and, feed at the trough and get some, because I'm always complimenting him too. But it was just kind of fun to see, when I was encouraging these guys and just being, and it made me feel good because they were feeling good, and even when I was leaving, the one young guy was doing something in the parking lot, and you could tell he had a little hop in his step, because all I'd been doing, and I'd only been there a little over an hour, I'd seen him 3 or 4 times, and every time I encouraged him and complimented him, and his boss, same thing. And what do you think they're going to think of when they see me come in that door next time? Oh, there's that guy that's a real bump in the log, a real blah. They're not going to say that. They're going to go, there's Arnie. What's he going to tell me today? What's he going to encourage me about today? Guys, listen, it's really that easy to share your passion about life. Now let's come to the big one now. The big one is love, isn't it? To me, it's the number one feeling there is. Love. Because you can overcome almost anything with love. People that are angry, love them to death. You've heard that term. Love them to death. It works. Love them. Now, does it mean you're somebody who's going to get stepped on? No. You have standards, but you can love people, even people that hate you. I mean, they're trying to kill you. Be careful. That's kind of Gandhi love. But unconditional love is something you all can practice. I try to practice it. Not perfect. Because I know that most people aren't going to return it to me. I know that. Look, people don't care about you. People care about what they care about. People care about what they care about. They don't, and sometimes we get so upset Oh my God, I can't believe they didn't care about my project. They didn't care about my son getting the award. Wah, wah, wah. No, they don't. Now, if you get lucky and they say, wow, that was just awesome. But in their head, they're probably thinking about what their kids are doing. Why their kids didn't get there. How come they couldn't do that? So by you understanding them and loving them and showing them tenderness, showing them compassion, warmth, understanding, what do you think they're going to do? There's a good chance they're going to return it back to you. So this feeling of love is powerful. It is so stinking powerful. It can change everything. Even when I'm sometimes on the phone with people and you can tell they're not having a good day. If you're just kind and loving, it's amazing what you can do. I'm not talking about manipulation. I'm just talking about making another human being feel good. Look, I'm not going to tell somebody that they look great if they look like crap. I'll find something else. But come on. You know, telling somebody that they're working hard or they're this or that, and they are, is a good thing. It's a good thing. So love, I mean, the fact that it brings affection, tenderness, compassion, warmth, all these things to the table is so powerful because we all use all four of those probably on a daily basis. And one of the things that love gives us is the gift of connection. So I'm a big fan of human collisions. Okay, we need collisions, and sometimes those collisions lead to connection. Sometimes they just lead to a better life. Sometimes they even can be spiritual. I don't know, but love is so powerful. And that's why you can relate it almost to all these other things too. Fear of not being loved, the pain of being in love. It's so painful. It hurts so good, right? You know what I'm talking about. So something about how powerful of a feeling that love is. That's why we all crave it. That's why we're so afraid, fearful that we're not going to be loved because we know what it feels like. It's so powerful. It's so powerful. All right, now the next one is shame. Now I did some notes here and I wrote some, and I found this site I was looking at got a little crazy with shame. Anytime you use the definition, the word in the definition, you know they're struggling with it. But the idea of shame is the idea of contempt, embarrassment. Sometimes you're humbled, you're exposed. I mean, you can't do it. You got in front of everybody, you're going to give a speech and you went, "Buh," right? So, but yeah, or you go ask somebody for a date and you messed it all up. Darn it. Or you didn't ask somebody out. There's shame attached to that because you didn't do it. You were exposed. You were talking a good game and nothing happened. Okay? So being humble. All right? So what are some of the gifts from shame? Humility. I almost call it a little positive ego. I mean, it's vulnerability. You're There's not, they can't hold anything above your head. You know, your humanity, you know, when you're, like I just said, you're vulnerable. You're not perfect. Sometimes people put themselves up on a pedestal and others put themselves on a pedestal. And it's just unrealistic. It's unrealistic because when you're exposed, number one, the people that expose you now know who you are, so you can't hide. And for some, that's scary because they don't know the other person. They don't know. They know the person that they're pretending to be. But loving the person that they are is the trick. That's the trick. All right, let's look at our last feeling here. Guilt. Ugh, I hate this one. Don't you? Don't you hate when someone tries to guilt you into something? Someone tries to make you feel guilty. So what do you feel with guilt? Well, you feel regretful, don't you? I didn't do it. I did do it. You know, you're regretful that you did it. You know, you're contrite. You're like, oh man, I'm really sorry. Can't believe I did that. The client I was telling you about earlier, he's constantly saying, I'm sorry, which is fine, but you don't have to say it 1,000 times. Say it once or twice, mean it. And then you can get on with your life. And if they don't forgive you, it doesn't matter. Who cares? And in you, are you truly remorseful of what happened? And that's guilt. I mean, you're feeling it. What does that lead to? It's your values. If you're not, well, you shouldn't be, but if you're not compromising your values, you're feeling good about yourself for not caving in because you're not compromising your values. You've made amends. Who knows, right? I have a great friend today that when I was a little kid, we were going to have the worst fight you can ever imagine. That's how we started. Calling names, ready just to go at it, man, toe to toe. And today, every time I see him, it's a big hug and how you doing, man? And that was 50 years ago that we met. So you make amends. You make amends for, these feeling shame about whatever it might be, whatever insecurity you might have about that. Or, guilt, not shame. But feeling, a lot of people try to, like I said, guilt you into something, making you feel bad, making you feel remorseful. But at the same time, if you're not compromising your values, if you've made amends to that person, if you are in control of that guilt, you're not owning it. That's where forgiveness comes in. If you're forgiving others and yourself, there's a good chance that guilt will not have a control over you. The feeling of guilt. It's just stuff that happens. You're not perfect. We're not perfect. We hurt people sometimes. You make amends for it. You're truly remorseful. You regret having it that it happens, and you move on. We don't dwell on it. The negative side of all these feelings is dwelling on it. Even love. If you get so wrapped up in love, in the feeling of love, you don't think straight. Some of you might think that's a good. No, it's not. It's not. That's because the feeling has overwhelmed you. Same with anger. You don't think straight. When you're angry, you make mistakes, just like when you're in love, you make mistakes. But angry mistakes are bad mistakes. All right, guys, that's kind of a wrap on that. It's a little complicated, but it's basic. Those are real feelings. I guarantee every one of those 8 that I just went through, you feel. Now, my advice to you is work on managing them so they don't overwhelm you. Stay on the positive side. What are you learning from these emotions, these feelings? And you're going to be a lot better off. I promise you. All right, guys. This is the Health, Love, and Life Show. This is Coach Arnie. And anybody want to call me or text me, there's my phone number, 602-390-9144. Or you can email me. And I'm all over the internet. Just look me up. Would love to talk to you. Have a great rest of your week. And I'll see you next week on the WGSN-DB Going Solo Network, radio, TV, and podcast. #1 Internet Talk Network. I'm out of here.